And today, before your eyes, he is attempting a one and only feat, trying to win the U.S. National Indoor title for a 7th time. He's in Memphis, going after this 7th title. He already has 6, but that's not enough for Jimmy Connors because he wants more, as he always has. The outdoor champion at the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadow last September, he wants to continue as the king indoors as well. And he was pushed yesterday in 3 severe sets by another left-hander whom you've never heard of, I'm sure. Take a look at his face. He is Ben Testerman, 140th in the world, but he really had a marvelous tournament, and he's on his way up, as is another left-hander who stands in the way, and I don't think you recognize him either. But look at that face, because he's one of the brilliant kids, 20-year-old Henri Leconte out of France. Helped France gain the Davis Cup final in 1982 against the United States. And as he showed last night in defeating Elliott Telcher, he could give Connors problems in Memphis, Tennessee, as Jimmy goes for another title, the 7th. But Jimmy keeps flowing just like the Mississippi River that rushes by Memphis, Tennessee. The East Bank on which Memphis sits, the town of music, of cotton, of muscle, where Bix Beiderbecke once played Mississippi Mud, where W.C. Handy wrote the blues, the Beale Street Blues, the Memphis Blues, the St. Louis Blues, and a latter-day tunesmith came along to thrill the country just as much. Elvis Presley, whose music flowed across the Mississippi, over Arkansas, and across the world. Not only music, but industrial might. Memphis is the 14th largest city in the United States. It is lately revived. It is a town of great friendship. It is a town of great promise, and is a town of this great river, this unceasing Mississippi. Tote that barge, lift that bale. The traffic just keeps going on the Mississippi. And as live from the Racquet Club in Memphis, Tennessee, ProServe Television presents the championship match of the $315,000 U.S. National Indoor Tennis Championships. Another stop on the Volvo Grand Prix. And today, it's Jimmy Connors, the proud Jimmy Connors, defending his title against a very hungry Frenchman, Henri Leconte. This program is made possible by grants from Thomas J. Lipton Incorporated, makers of Lipton Tea, Transamerica Corporation, insurance, finance, manufacturing, transportation, innovation. Volvo of America, sponsors of the worldwide Volvo Grand Prix. The investment executives at Payne Weber. Seiko Watches and your authorized Seiko dealer. Atari Home Computers, official computer of the Association of Tennis Professionals. And by Burroughs. Well, roses are red, and so are the faces of most of those who have gone up against Jimmy Connors over the last few years, over a decade, and very few of them have come out winners. 2 days from Valentine's Day, well, Jimmy is no Cupid, but oh, how he has shot arrows into his opponents. Every year winning 100 tournaments. Well, I'm Bud Collins, and good afternoon. And along with me, the U.S. Davis Cup captain of many years past, Donald Dell, a man who played in this tournament himself, the U.S. Indoor, but we have another man, Barry McKay, on the floor who actually won it in 1960. But Jimmy Connors has controlled this event since it was in Salisbury, Maryland, moved here to Memphis in 1977, trying for a 7th title. Can Henri Leconte stop him, Donald?
I think he can, but I think Jimmy Connors is going to have his work cut out for him playing the mercurial left-hander Leconte. He's a really marvelous talent. We've seen him beat Feeback. We've seen him beat last night Elliott Telcher, I thought, rather easily. And Leconte, as you can see right there on the screen, is ranked 29 in the ATP Atari computer, but he's a lot better talent than that. He will move way up into the top 15 or 16 after this week because he's played so well here. But I think Jimmy Connors, on the other hand, the defending title holder and would like very much to break his record and go 7 times. And the pressure will all be on him, Bud. He'll have to do some things differently today than he did yesterday. He can't let Leconte, for example, get the first set. He can't let him get ahead of him because Leconte, I think, is a bit of a front runner. He gets better as he gets confident. Secondly, this is the biggest match in Leconte's career, the biggest chance to win a major title, a national American championship, and he will be a little under pressure, a little tense as the match starts. But he is a great serve and volleyer, and he's one of those few left-handers that can come over the ball on his backhand side. He can chip it, he can slice it, which he likes to do, but he can also roll it, as you see right there.
And he can also hit it on the roof.
He can go anywhere with that ball. He doesn't know where it's going, and you don't know where it's going. But believe me, he is so powerful and so strong for a 20-year-old. Let's go down to Barry McKay, who won this event in 1960 and is watching from courtside. Barry?
Well, we said yesterday this court is playing very slow, and that's going to have a big factor today because Jimmy Connors will return serve well on a slower court. But Henri Leconte, this is his great opportunity. He's got nothing to lose. He was seeded 16th, and he's a brilliant type of player. He can hit shots from anywhere on the court. He's really what we call a shot maker. If he can, play consistently today at the right time, I think he's got a chance out here. But the most fun is going to be to watch him hit those brilliant shots, and he's going to have to do it a lot more than he normally does. Back to you, Donald.
Well, what I liked about Henri Leconte against Elliot Telcher last night was that Telcher had him in trouble several times, and he came out of the toughest spot near the end of the second set. It was a straight set victory with a second ball ace on a break point. He really had to go for it.
He takes tremendous risks on that second serve. He's very confident that way.
And he was second serving very well last night. They've played once. That was 2 years ago on clay at the German Open. Patty Connors, roommate, wife of Jimmy Connors, and that's about as much emotion as she's going to show. She's well contained as she watches her man go for his 101st professional title. The 100th was the U.S. Open, and this is his first tournament of 1984. It is the second tournament of 1984 for Leconte, who played the U.S. Pro Indoor, and I suppose since we show you Hunter Delatour, center, on the right, Slew Hester. Hunter, the current U.S. Tennis Association president. Slew Hester, the wonderful president who carried the USTA into modern times by constructing the U.S. Tennis Center at Flushing Meadow. And someday, I hope the USTA has the grace to put his name on that tennis center. And, of course, Randolph Gregson was in there, who was the heir apparent, will be the next president of the USTA. And let's go to Barry McKay with Patty Connors.
All right, Bud. Patty, I know you watch a lot of tennis, and at this point, right before the match, what's going through your mind? Are you just a little bit nervous, or are you trying to forget about everything?
I'm a little bit nervous because I can't remember when the last time Jimmy played Henri was. So I'm not familiar with his style of play, but I'm confident. Jimmy's playing really well, so I think it should be a good day for us.
Patty, when Jimmy's in the middle of a match, sometimes I see him look over here. Is it more just for a look of confidence? You're not flipping many signals on how to play, are you?
Me? I've only been playing for 2 years. What kind of signals could I give him? No, just for reassurance.
All right, Patty. Have a good match.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Bud.
Okay, we're just getting ready now for the Naval Band from the Millington Naval Air Station here in Memphis to line up for the national anthem, and Carla Thomas will be singing. She enters on the arm of Tommy Buford, the tournament director.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red
Carla Thomas lifting the anthem. The Naval Band from Millington Air Station, directed by Dave Johnson.
This crowd loves it, Bud.
Well, if you want to sing La Marseillaise at home in your living room, there's umpire Frank Hammond. In honor of Henri Leconte, now is the time to do it. He must really feel like he's in a foreign land right now, going against one of the greatest of all American players, Jimmy Connors, who today, now Jimmy can make a little history. The game of tennis and tournament tennis in America began in 1881. This tournament goes back to 1898. There have been 4 other players who have won U.S. Tennis Association national championships 7 times. Dick Sears, the original champion, won it 7 times on grass. Helen Wills Moody, 7 times on grass. Mulla Mallory, 7 times on grass. Those were back in the 1920s. Big Bill Tilden won 7 times on grass and 7 times the clay court championship. And so Jimmy Connors can join that august group if he wins the indoor for a 7th time. He has won the U.S. Open, the outdoor championship, 5 times.
You know, Bud, we've been doing an off. There's Frank Hammond, who will be in the chair. Awfully good umpire. But we've been doing a lot of talking about Henri Leconte because he's new to the American public, and is he talented. But let's don't forget the tremendous competitive nature of a Connors. Connors views every match as a job. He likes to play. He likes to compete. Reminds me a little bit of Moses Malone in basketball. He comes to play.
Mr. Connors won the toss.
Well, Jimmy Connors,
and
every day
to receive,
who lives on Sanibel Island off the west coast of Florida now. And he won the toss, and he says, kid, you lead it off. Let's see what you got. So here goes Henri Leconte trying to steal the title from James Scott Connors.
And again, remember, a left-hander to a left-hander means Leconte will be serving more to Connors' forehand, which is not Jimmy's favorite shot off the return.
First point to Leconte. Their first meeting in 1982 in Hamburg. Connors won 6-1, 7-6. This, too, is a best-of-3 set match.
That's a great second serve, but
and he was coming in behind it.
Tremendous depth off that.
15
Surprised Jimmy. Ball hit right on inside the line.
Jimmy Connors with that familiar Wilson T2000 Steely. He says, I'm testing a new racket, but I'm still depending on the Steely. I've only got about 8 or 9 of them left. Woo, what a return.
And there's a shot that he made famous, the two-handed cross court. That's what he lives and dies by.
15-30.
Let's see it again. This is the Connors trademark. He makes the return, pushes it by Leconte. Leconte pops it up. Now Connors sets up and rifles it cross court. He can catch the ball very early with the two-handed shot.
15-30. Connors the receiver, the champion. And 2 break points right away against the kid. And it wasn't a bad approach shot.
15-14.
Low slice.
Connors would love to jump on him quickly. Let's watch the replay. Here comes Leconte. Now that ball's short. Jimmy goes behind him. Leconte's there, but off balance. Connors caught that forehand well in front of him, and he's at 2 break points.
15-40. Missing a lot of first serves. Ooh, inside out, and he saves a breaker. Here comes number 2.
30-40.
Now this is a very big point for the kid because Leconte would love to get into deuce. Try to gain a little balance and rhythm. Connors can break him right off the bat. It will throw him off balance.
Ace for Leconte. What a place for it.
And that is really a great first service motion. It's quick. It's a short swing back. Let's watch it again now. He's at the far end, but it's a very quick delivery. Short toss, high slice, quickly comes through. Connors didn't move.
No chance for Jimmy. It's deuce. And Leconte has a game point.
Advantage Leconte.
Stays back.
Henri Leconte, and what a morale-building opening game of this U.S. National Indoor from 1540 to win the game.
First
He
game
needs
of the
one
match.
love, and let's retreat to game point.
Now watch this service motion here. You notice here it's a high, very, very quick follow through. He's got the forehand, a lot of topspin. Notice how he's always bouncing on his feet. Goes around, runs around that backhand when he can. He favors the forehand because of that tremendous wrist action. Now he comes, notice how he takes the racket up high. There's the slice. That's what's classic slice, coming in behind the ball. Gives him a lot of control, a lot of depth, sets up. Connors wisely goes with the lob. Now look at Leconte. Tremendous acrobatic agility there for one who looks a little plump. He's a chubby player, but he's deceptively quick, and you see how he got here in the semifinals. He beat Odozor of Nigeria, the Duke, 4-6, 6-2, 6-3. Then Tim Gullickson, who earlier had upset Yannick Noah, Leconte's Davis Cup player from France and partner. He beat him in a tough match, 6-4 in the third. And then the Polish player, Wojtek Fibak, who's had such a good start this season indoors, getting to the semifinals in Philadelphia. Fibak fell 6-4 in the third as well. And last night, Elliot Telcher really was blasted off the court by Leconte, 6-4, 6-3.
But I tell you, every time Telcher kept getting into that match and setting up break points, and the kid would second serve him right out of the match. Johnny Oklepo,
Mr.
the
Jimmy
Italian, was the first-round
Connors to
victim of
serve.
Connors. Tom Schmidt, the Czechoslovak, the longest tiebreaker Jimmy's ever played. Then Fritz Buning, and then yesterday Ben Testerman in 3 sets, the only player to win a set from Connors. Now watch this Leconte's backhand. It's very difficult to pick. He just swings like that. He's wide, but Connors had no play.
15 love.
Well, Leconte had the right idea.
Problem for Jimmy
13
Connors.
love.
But we're looking how he got here, and we got through to Thomas Schmidt, who was his
And
longest
Fritz Buning,
tiebreaker.
who played a very good match against Connors, the New Jersey player who sometimes loses his concentration, but he didn't in that match. And then Ben Testerman, the surprise of the tournament, qualifier.
Now there is a careless slap.
40
He
love.
didn't move his feet at all for that backhand. You can't afford any careless errors against Connors. He's got to keep the pressure on, and he's got to serve and volley well if he wants to win this title.
Game Connors.
So it's 1 game all. An easy serving game for Jimmy. And we return
1-all.
to Henri Leconte, whose training program over the last few months has included cross-country skiing and soccer to build up his legs. And not bad. He's working under the close supervision of Sever Drone, a Romanian who lives in Paris and works for Leconte's former coach, Jan Tiriac, the manager.
Leconte, Bud, looks a little chubby. It's like he almost has boyhood baby fat, but he's much quicker than that. As you'll see, here he comes.
On the side. Oh, no, it's called long. Wide, excuse me, by Sandy
Love 15.
Schwann. Sandy. Excuse me, that was Jim Magnus. How could I miss his face? Distinctive.
One game all, love 15, Leconte, the 20-year-old from Lille, France.
He's born in Lille, Donald. Actually, he's lived in Paris since he was 3.
Interesting when you say Connors won his 100th Grand Prix
15
title,
all.
beating Lendl at the U.S. Open. And if you put it in perspective, what a record, Bud, because the guy nearest to him is the great Bjorn Borg, and he's only won 62 titles.
And Leconte, the server, was the last player to beat Borg before he retired last spring in Monte Carlo, the last pro match of Borg.
$30-15.
Now, Leconte here likes to come in behind that first serve, spins it wide. Jimmy is stretching with the 2 hands. Leconte goes around the backhand side, hitting the volley. Look where he finishes, way out to the right. He loves the forehand side, both volleys and from the baseline.
First of the day. Okay. That's 1 ace and 1 double fault for Henri Leconte. There's big wins last year, twice over Ivan Lendl.
Funny how that works. Some players like to play certain styles of game, and Leconte loves to play
Ace
Lendl.
number 2.
Oh boy, that is just devastating. And one reason for it, Bud, and we'll get to it later in slow-mo.
14,
Watch
yeah.
this. Now watch the short toss. As he throws the ball up, he quickly takes his left arm back. So both are cocked almost at the same time. And it's a much, much quicker motion. Gives you much less time to get ready or to read it.
40-30 is the score, second serve.
His serve reminds me a little bit of Roscoe Tanner.
Yeah.
It's such a quick drawback. Now watch it. Comes through fast.
So,
Game Leconte.
Henri Leconte, who had problems in the first game with 2 break points, none this time, leads 2
Leconte
games to
leads
1.
2-1.
As we go to Barry McKay with Sever Dron, the Romanian who coaches Leconte.
Sever, a lot of people saying you've been doing a lot of coaching with Henri. What did you tell him before today's match?
I just tell him he can beat Connors, you know. I know Connors is a monster of tennis, you know, and it's too difficult for him to play Connors. But I just tell him, you know, sometimes the monster can be down, you know, and maybe I hope it's today.
Leconte can beat anybody on a given day, I think, Sever, because he's a very brilliant player. Does he need to become more consistent in your mind?
Yes, he need to be a little bit steady, you know, in his game. When he's playing well, it's marvelous, but he need to be steady in his game. And I think when he start to be steady, he's the best in the world after.
How about his temper? I know he's had some trouble with that.
No, it's just Latin people, you know, and then his temper, his play with his temper, like Markin or like Connors, like everybody. He need that, and he's play with this.
How's your old buddy Tyriak doing?
It's fine, it's fine. You have some problem with Guillermo, but it's fine.
All right, thanks for being with us.
Okay.
Back to you, bud.
So Sever Drone describing the Latin temperament of such as McEnroe and Connors, and also Leconte.
Oh, I liked him calling Connors the monster
Was
of
it the
tennis.
master or the monster? Both
I thought he
fit.
said monster.
Okay, here's Jimmy Connors.
It was named, it said as a compliment. But
Oh, yes.
15 love.
when you won 100 titles, but 100 Grand Prix tournaments, you really are a monster or a master.
That's right, either one. And Connors is going for his 101st pro title. Leconte is going for his 2nd.
That's where Jimmy is a little weak on the forehand side when he doesn't
15
get
all.
down on the shot. Stood straight up. Got to get down low and roll it with some little topspin.
Leconte won Stockholm 2 years ago. That's his lone pro title.
that 2 years ago? About
30-15.
82. Last year he was in 2 finals, didn't win, lost the Australian Indoor Open to John McEnroe in Sydney, and lost Kitzbühel, Australia to Guillermo Vilas. And the roof, I must say, sorry about this, is leaking a little bit, and Jimmy was wiping away some moisture. Heavy rainstorm outside.
You mean the house that Billy Donovan built is leaking?
We pointed that out to William Donovan, the man who gave Memphis this marvelous club, and it is a friendly, very useful and handsome club.
Fabulous.
But there was some dripping on the courts today.
There's Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan, and he'll be out with a towel any moment if that continues.
His game was leaking too, I might add, along with the roof. 40-15 to Connors. He trails 1-2. It's good.
So it's 2 games all as Patty Connors with her friend Sandy Harwitt.
Patty tries Bud early in the match to establish eye contact with Jimmy, and he will look over there 4, 5, 6 times during a match, basically for support or encouragement, but she always checks him out after every game point to see if he's looking over.
2 games all. Henri Leconte, French Davis Cupper, teammate of Yannick Noah, who has been playing so badly. We'll talk about that, Donald, because I know you're close to Yannick. Oh.
And Jimmy, catching the ball very early, just bunts it by him. He didn't hit it hard, just met it. And Bud, we're in for a treat here today. This is going to be a good match. Con is a heck of a talent, and he'll have to be to stay with Connors. That first serve has got to hold him even. He's got to serve well to beat him. Double fault.
2.
Love 30.
It's going to be good for a triple breaker. Patty approves.
Leconte gave Jimmy a stare like
Love
you were a
14.
lucky guy, you mishit it, and Connors just turned his back on him, wouldn't look at him, walked away.
There's no luck about Jimmy Connors returning. There have been few players in history return the serve better than Jimmy Connors. He did mishit a little bit, but he had the intent. 3 break points. It went through. Connors lost sight of the ball. Well, there's a sense of humor for Mama. Woo!
Interesting, Jimmy missed that ball completely.
That was a strange shot, guys. Well, it looked like the ball went right through Connors' racket. Honestly, I'm 2 feet away from where he tried to hit that volley.
Well, we know those rackets are old, but it's 15-40. And there are still 2 break points weighing on Henri Leconte. Connors says, don't serve too hard because I might get hurt.
Connors wants this point, though, 15-40. 4 inches wide.
From one side of the stands, that looked like an ace, but it was long. And the second double fault of the game, 3rd of the match, and Leconte breaks himself. And he does go for that second serve, and it's 3-2 for Connors at this National Indoor Final in Memphis, where this title has been fought for since 1977. It started out in a building in West Newton, Massachusetts in 1898, moved to the 7th Regiment Armory in New York, where it was played until 1964. That's where Barry McKay won it in 1960. In 1964, Bill Reardon took it to Salisbury, Maryland, and put that town on the Delmarva Peninsula on the map, along with Frank Perdue. And then it moved here in 1977. Let's look at what Packy has to say, the Atari computer.
Seats quickly, please.
Atari ATP computer, they combined together this year to plan on the singles rankings. It's a computerized formula based on the number of points you earn and dividing by a minimum number of 12 tournaments. You take your best scores every week. Lendl in first place as of January 30th, that is, and it does change every 2 weeks. John McEnroe second, Jimmy Connors third at 114. He's got a big edge there. Villander is fourth. Higueras moving to seventh. Kevin Kern, Vilas, Scanlon, Gomez, and Elliott Telcher, number 12.
And Leconte is number 29. And will rise, I would think, on the basis of this tournament.
$15 love.
Connors is starting to get a lot more feel, a little more depth. He's playing better. He'll put more pressure on Leconte.
$30 love.
A delayed approach.
$40 love.
Now here is where Leconte comes in. Not too much depth. Jimmy goes cross court. Leconte pops it up. And as he runs, Jimmy sets up with the two-hander. He goes either way, but he lays it behind Leconte, plays behind him.
For 40 love. Long. And that was that quick flashing backhand of Leconte's. He can hit it very close to his body. And he hits it with the ball rising. And it's a tough ball to handle.
Here he comes. He suddenly lets it go, and it drops about a foot over the baseline.
40-15.
Game Connors.
So 4-2 for Connors.
Really, Bud, that game, Leconte made two very unforced errors.
Connors leads 4-2.
Well, that is Leconte's problem, is steadiness, consistency. A little bit like Hana Manlikova, brilliant female shot maker, but if it isn't working, there's not much margin of error. Frank Hammond is the umpire from New York.
He's got that time stopwatch going there. 30 seconds allowed between rallies.
Look out for the topspin.
Leconte was there, but the topspin he couldn't handle.
Number 3.
Tell you what, Leconte is really good when he gets that first ball, and it's almost unbeatable. Look at that quick wrist snap. Jimmy didn't know which side to read it. Suddenly lunges. Leconte likes to swing him wide in that court, but he went down the middle instead.
15 all.
There, Connors attacking the second serve, keeping the ball well in front of him. Hits a winner.
15.
Wide.
30 all.
4-2 to Connors, 30 all.
It was a
good kicking second serve. Barry McKay come in.
Donald, it's interesting, the difference in the pace down here today as opposed to yesterday. Testerman's so slow in between points. Leconte really speeds up. I think he's one of the faster players I've seen. Really,
He's in a hurry.
He likes to play fast.
He doesn't like to stop, pause, or think. He just bangs away.
No time for thinking. He says his shots are instinctive.
He's been coached and managed by the Romanian player Jan Tiriac, who's so successful with Vilas.
Because Connors made an extraordinary approach.
He had good depth on that, Bud, and Leconte just hit a better shot. Best shot of the match. Henri Leconte.
4-3 for Jimmy Connors, whose break of serve came in the 5th game. Let's go to Barry McKay with Randy Gregson of New Orleans, Vice President of the U.S. Tennis Association.
Randy Gregson, you have seen some great matches at the indoors through the years, maybe more than a lot of people. What comes to your mind as one of the all-time great indoor matches?
Well, there have been so many, Barry, I don't know how to answer that. I think last year Jimmy played the Elliott Telcher in one of the best matches I've ever seen, and then Borg had 2 great matches. One against Gottfried 4 or 5 years ago was a great match. But this tournament's just replete with great matches, I think.
Randy, the USTA is doing a lot to feed that Olympic competition. When does it all start? Hunter and I talked about it briefly yesterday. Tell us a little more.
Well, we start district qualifications in early May, some even in April, to come to the National Tennis Center in Flushing Meadow, New York, for a 128 draw of men and women, well, boys and girls. Then the winners there, then we take 4. And we'll have 2 champions and with 2 wild cards in each division. So we think we'll have a good representation there.
Thanks for being with us, Randy.
Thank you.
Back to you, Bud.
Thanks, Barry McKay, with Randy Gregson. Of course, Barry McKay thinks the greatest match in the history of this tournament, 1960 final, in which he defeated Dick Savage 6-4 in the 5th.
I saw that match, Bud. It wasn't a bad effort by the Bear. Savage was awfully good on boards at the 7th Regiment. He owned part of that court. Now, Jimmy Connors
15-11.
does not want to let up 1 iota here at 4-3. He's got the break. He just needs to hold twice.
Difference between that court and this one was that there were buckets catching the water and very few lights.
Dark and dingy. That's why you serve so well. Indoors at the regiment.
I had them dim them right before every match.
So Connors has lost only 2 points in 4 serving games.
Leconte yelled, "Move," and he's right. He didn't move his feet at all. Not his body from the shoulders or waist up, but rather his feet.
Caught the line, and so did Connors.
And boy, he had really good depth and pace on that shot. He swung him wide, but Jimmy was there. Now watch this play. It's a good rally. Connors slicing the backhand for control, keeps the depth. Now look at that underspin. And there Connors on the line, hits that hook shot, and Leconte can't handle it.
Second serve, 40 love. First for Jimmy.
Double fault,
40-15.
but Connors breaks into a smile.
Best possible place to double fault at 40 love. Just long, says Ron Violet on the baseline. And he's been overruled by Frank Hammond, the umpire, and so
Scores 40-15.
He just overruled him, I guess.
He was
said they would play
overruled.
two.
So Leconte doesn't like it. I kind of agree with him. That's a very close ball to be overruling.
Thank you.
But the point will be replayed. It is 40-15. And game.
Connors.
5-3 for Jimmy. As Leconte now tries to stay in the set.
Connors leads 5-3.
Set game against him. And he has not exploded yet. Leconte has hit some brilliant shots, but has made far too many unforced errors.
And Jimmy's been pretty smart, Bud, the way he's played him. He's kept the ball awfully deep. Can't really hurt you if you can keep the ball deep enough.
Wide, please.
7 unforced errors, says our stats woman, Kathy Andriatis.
Love 15.
Now Connor's starting to read Leconte's first serve a little better. Catching that early. I think he chipped a tooth or something there.
Let's see what's
He
going
hit
on.
something with his hand in his mouth.
Yes, he signals to umpire Frank Hammond, and there's trainer Bill Norris
I
right
think
beside him.
He either hit his mouth or he chipped a tooth.
You taking injury time?
And Frank Hammond says, "Are you taking injury time?" And Connor says, "No."
He asked Norris to look at his teeth.
And he may have knocked out a tooth.
I could sense that just the way.
I've never seen that. We'll find out from Barry McKay. Patty, wondering what the dentist's phone number is. You ever seen that?
I never have, no, but it looked right away that's what happened.
Well, first thing he said over there was, "I do not want an injury timeout." So even though Norris hopped up.
I don't know why Barry he would do that, because he gets 3 minutes under the rules
It's
if he
love
wants
15.
to take it.
No, but he can't, you want to save him if you can.
Well, how many do you get a match?
I believe it's 1.
I'd like to check that. I'm not sure it's limited.
Love 30.
So 2 points from set.
You're logically right, but otherwise, why not take it?
Sure.
There you see Connor's.
$15-30.
Connor's 2 points from set. 15-30, 3-5. The 20-year-old Henri Leconte. What a fabulous future he has in the game of tennis. He just keeps improving his weaknesses.
Okay, if you can hear me up there.
Yes, go ahead, Barry McKay.
The answer is you get 1 per injury. In other words, if you have different kinds of injuries,
Right.
for each injury you get 1 of those 3
1 per
minute time.
tooth, huh?
That's correct.
30 all.
That might prompt a player to have a multitude of injuries throughout the match.
I was going to say, Barry, then the supervisor's got to be a medical doctor. Figure out which injury the guy's has.
Set point.
30-40.
I knew those supervisors were supermen, but I didn't know they were doctors. Set point, 30-40, 3-5.
Got the ace when he needed it. Number 4. Woo, on a set point.
Deuce.
Short backswing, slaps the ball down the center, and it's well in the inside the line.
It's due, so Henri Leconte continues on in this set. Within a breath of losing it.
There, Leconte covered that high topspin very quickly. He ended up almost over the net.
Advantage
But watch
Leconte.
how he plays this. Jimmy mishits the forehand. It sits up, but it's well placed. Now look at Leconte. He starts sprinting to the ball, and he ends in close, but in the alley.
Advantage, Leconte's second serve.
double fault.
Ooh. And that is 4 for Henri.
And a very bad time for that one. You're serving for game.
Five double faults, 2 in the game, and
Advantage,
set point
Connors.
number 2. And there goes the set.
Game in first set.
So Jimmy Connors is halfway
6 games to 3.
to his
New
7th
ball.
National Indoor Championship. As Henri Leconte had double faulted himself right out of that game with 2 doubles. As we go to Barry McKay with Billy Donovan, the man who built the Racket Club of Memphis.
Billy, a lot of plans Tommy Buford told us about these luxury boxes. Tell us a little more about what your plans are.
Barry, we're just going to come across the north side and put some executive suite boxes with balconies and indoor closed circuit TV to just enhance the value of the tournament to a lot of the people here in the city of Memphis.
Has Al Davis applied yet?
Not Al yet, not yet, but we're looking for it.
All right, Billy, what about this great match? I know you have an annual match, and you don't like to talk about it too much. Were there any injury timeouts this morning with you and your partner against Dell and Collins?
Barry, we needed a lot of injury timeouts this morning. Unfortunately, we were the losers again, but next year I've decided a new program that we're going to get some TV announcers that we can beat in tennis. So Donald and Bud, goodbye.
All right. Billy, how about the tournament? Seems to get better every year. Did you miss having Noah knocked out this year early? Did that bother you at all?
Well, it bothered me personally, but it really hadn't bothered the gate, Barry. I think the gate's been better than in the past years, and I think the public acceptance here locally is getting better and better every year. And as long as we get top-flight players like this, even if we miss 2 or 3 of the top ones, it's okay.
Billy, we hope we'll see you next year.
Thank you, Barry. I hope to see you, except not Donald and Bud.
Okay, it's a deal. Back to you guys. You heard that.
Why do so many people feel that way about us?
It's funny. It's like a disease. It gets contagious.
Yes. Well, this is our 15th season together, Donald. We both missed the opener in Philadelphia. You were ill, and I was kidnapped by a WTA terrorist squad in Marco Island. But we're starting number 15. We're pleased to be with you on these public stations. And
We've been with 15 years on PBS together.
15 years. Greg Harney started us off on Channel 2 in Boston.
Kind of fun. And a little sentimental. Jimmy Connors been winning titles for as long as we've been announcing.
We had his first big one, the U.S. Pro, in 1973. He had won a few
correct.
before that. Well, he is just
15 love.
all a miss. Discouraged, I think.
Well, he's such a streaky player, and he pushes himself so hard to make shots that he starts missing. It can unfold very quickly.
Let
Jimmy
first service.
can smell that opportunity.
Well, there's the first chance for the net judge, Janice F. Yearwood. Fortescue, of course, is her middle name. She's part of the family. There's Janice. And her sister is also on a line, Karen Yearwood. Down there at the end, on the center.
Out. 30 love.
Now, Leconte has really got to
Look at that. That
change his
tells the
style.
story.
Yeah,
43%.
75% first serves. What a accomplishment. 43% to Leconte. That's a disaster for him.
Well, he's just not putting balls into play, and he's cutting his own throat. Because Connors is not overpowering with the serve.
(40-15).
That's only the 4th point Connors has lost on his own serve. 5 serving games.
He's in a hurry, Bud, to get on that plane out to sunny Leconte, where they'll be playing next week in the Congolium Classic. A lot of the players flying out tonight after the finals to Los Angeles and then on to Palm Springs.
So Jimmy has the opening game of the 2nd set. He won the 1st set, and Barry McKay will be talking to the supervisor of officials, who happens to be a Memphian, Roy Dance.
Roy, what about this injury situation? Now, how many injury timeouts are you allowed during a match?
You're allowed 1 injury timeout per injury. You can have a different injury, so you get another timeout.
I mean, who determines that? What if I hurt my shoulder and then I say, well, it's not really my shoulder, I got a new problem with my elbow? Is that your decision then?
No, a visible injury is what is the determining factor, and the chair umpire is the one that decides whether there is a visible injury or not.
Okay, Roy, what about this timing situation now? We don't see a clock on the court. Whose responsibility is it to make sure these points start within 30 seconds?
The chair umpire is the one that's keeping the time stopwatch around his neck. The court side clocks are not working properly. There's something about the radio remote control that's not working properly. Of course, I have my own stopwatch, and Frank Hammond has one too.
If all of a sudden you're seeing that it's running over, is it your obligation from courtside here to go out and say, hey, let's speed things up?
That's right. I have to correct it. I have to go out and talk to the umpire and make sure it is corrected.
Okay, Roy, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Barry McKay, with Roy Dance, and this is Roy's last tournament as a supervisor. He's moving to Dallas, going to marry. We wish him well.
One of the really good supervisors, Bud. The players are missing him. He's very competent, very well liked.
Getting married, he will supervise no more. New rule book for J. Roy Dance to interpret.
Connors off to a quick start here at 1-love, 2nd set.
He got the sideline. Leconte.
If I were coaching Leconte, Bud, I'd tell him to slow down now. Take a little more time between rallies. Get your bearings and really try to return Connors' serve better. Hadn't been returning very well at all.
Another overhead. Bounces into the stands off the head of Shirley Simmons.
40-love.
Guess she's all right.
Roy Dance just added one quick note that if Connors is going to take an injury on that last deal, he's got to do it in the next couple of games here. He can't wait till the end of the 3rd set.
Barry, can you find out if Jimmy did indeed lose a tooth in that incident?
No, but it was a bridge that came loose in his upper mouth. That was what it was. It came loose. It's a bridge, but it's okay now.
Game Leconte.
So that makes Henri feel a little better. He had lost 3 straight games. 1-all, 2nd set.
And right here, Leconte ought to just try to get that return back. Keep it in play. Have a few rallies before he goes for a shot. Make Connors play.
Got it! Oh, it's good. And he misses the easy one.
He misses the chip approach off the baseline that where it slid off that line. Connors a little winded there. He's going to take plenty of time between these points here. Now watch why. Good volley there. Now watch Leconte, who looks short and chubby, but is much more quick than you would think. And he's doing all the work on this rally. And this ball lands right on the line. Skids. Jimmy pops it up. It's short.
15-love.
Leconte missed that return. Notice, Bud, how Connors is very smartly steering those rallies to the Leconte backhand side. He's keeping the ball deep. He's keeping it to his backhand, which is weaker. He loves to hit topspin forehands.
Net cord. Goes.
Forty love.
Here's Jimmy with the forehand. Looper. Leconte hits the top of the net. It lands. Very high carriage to that. Jimmy's got plenty of time to come in and swoop it. He could have hit it either way. He had him both sides.
40 love. Final of the national.
We're tied at 6. Chip Hooper, Johan Kriek, Tim Gullickson, and Heinz Goodhart of Switzerland with 32 points and is in the 11th spot as they will be finishing the Volvo Masters. The top 12 point finishers at the end of the season play in the Garden.
And Heinz Goodhart is always up there in the doubles standing as well. He's in the doubles final, the Donovan Cup, that goes to the winner of the U.S. Indoor Championship, named for Billy Donovan, of course. Goodhart is in the doubles final with the Czechoslovak Tom Schmid. They play against Americans Fritz Buning and Peter Fleming, a couple of New Jersey guys who overcame the Gullickson brothers, Tim and Tom, last night, 6-3 in the third set.
Gully's had a couple of match points,
Yes, they did.
in the second. But Buning and Fleming prevailed in a very good doubles match.
What a menacing team they are.
They are so big, so powerful.
Ace!
15 love.
So that's 5 for Henri Leconte. And Henri Leconte has unquestionably won one of the prizes here at Memphis as he serves his 5th ace. That gives him 37 for the tournament, and it wins him an Oriental rug that Sarkis Kish, the local rug man, donates. He gives 1 rug to the winner of the tournament and 1 to the server of the most aces. So Leconte could theoretically win 2 rugs. Behind him in aces with no chance to catch up, Tim Gullickson, 24, Ben Testerman and Fritz Buning, 21 each. Connors had 5 yesterday, which is a big match for him. That was against Ben Testerman. The roof is leaking into our booth, Donald.
Yeah.
To wear your sou'wester.
Leconte has got to be more selective when he picks that approach shot to come in. Now watch that quick backswing. Rotates his shoulders. Jimmy bouncing, sets up for the forehand there. Comes across the ball. Leconte moving around to hit the forehand. Loves that.
Ace number 6 for Henri Leconte.
This crowd always favoring the underdog, cheering for Leconte to stay in it.
He stayed with Connors to 2-all in the first set and then won only 1 more game. He has not bothered Connors at all. Connors has given up 4 points in 6 serving games.
Out. 15 love.
Constantly overhitting the forehand. Mm.
$30 love.
Let's watch Jimmy Connors in the forehand passing shot, which he's not as comfortable. Look at him save that with the two-hander. Doesn't have quite as much reach when he's using 2 hands. He comes right back to the center of the court. Now he stays down very low. Look how low he is and follows through forehand winning passing shot.
Well,
30-15.
now 30-15 point is as close as Leconte has gotten to Connors on his serve.
Forty 15.
Leconte really hasn't put any pressure, Bud, at all on Jimmy's first service. Very
Game
bad.
Connor.
So 3-2 as Leconte has been like a statue receiving serve, not moving his feet.
Connors leads
3-2 for
3-2.
Connors. And so we're wondering if Henri Leconte can make a comeback at Memphis. This program is made possible.
8 Democratic presidential candidates. The Iowa Democratic debate starts at 4:30. And on Saturday afternoon, February 25th at 2 o'clock, we'll have coverage of the USA Mobile Indoor Track and Field Championships, which were being held the previous night at New York's Madison Square Garden. Saturday afternoon, the 25th.
Leconte winning the first point of the sixth game.
He hit that
15
overhead
love.
butt on the baseline. He didn't have to play that ball, but he got so carried away. Watch this rally because it's one of the best of the match. Jimmy saves one. Now look at
15
Leconte.
love.
Rolls the backhand. Connors struggling, pops it up. It carries deep. Look where Leconte hits that overhead.
15 love. Jimmy Connors, the receiver, leading 6-3, 3-2. Best of 3 set. And there is ace number 7 for Henri Leconte, who has hit more winners
Spins it down the center.
than Connors, but the tale is told. Leconte's very low serving percentage in the 40s, and he has made twice as many unforced. Another ace, number 8.
40 love.
Leconte has committed 15 unforced errors to Connors' 6. I'm Bud Collins with Donald Dell and Barry McKay. 87th running of the U.S. National Indoors. And a strong game, perhaps the strongest of the match for Leconte as he gets to 3-all.
Three-all.
Now Leconte in close. You can watch his facial expression. Follows through that big left paw. And he's always bouncing. Carries the racket in the forehand grip.
3 games all. Leconte's problem. Get some balls in play against Connors' serve.
Now Jimmy's keeping that passing shot
15
very
love.
low. Leconte hits the ball awfully flat off the volley. Not too much spin for control.
Thirty love.
Leconte never getting more than 1 point against Connors' serve, and most of it his own fault. Hey, Connors has an ace. That's number
40
1.
love.
Slid that ball in nicely right on the line. As we've said before, Connors plays better when he is more aggressive on his first serve. Makes him think more about going to net, leaning into the shot.
Game Connors.
So 4 games to 3 for Connors.
Connors leads 4-3.
As we descend to courtside, Barry McKay is with Jean-Paul Lotte, the captain of the French Davis Cup team, on which Leconte is such an important member.
Jean-Paul, you've worked with Henri. Is he a difficult player to coach? Does he take instruction well?
Yeah, he's a very nice guy. You know, he's listening well, and he tries to. What nice is with him that he's trying to play his own way all the time. He plays like that, since he's 11-year-old. But he takes advice, and when somebody is telling him he has to change something on the court, he's doing it. So now he's playing Jimmy Connors. Everybody knows that Jimmy is the biggest player, you know, in the last 10 years. It's a little bit difficult for him to concentrate, to know if he has to be rough or nice, or, well, it's difficult for him.
What do you think he should be doing out there right now? Anything different than what he's doing?
I think he should stay a little bit back, playing on Jimmy's forehand with some very low and deep slice on the forehand, you know, and waiting his tower to go to the net, because he's rushing a little bit. You know, he should wait a little bit more.
All right, Jean-Paul, thank you.
Jean-Paul Lotte, captain of the French Davis Cup team, which got to the final in 1982, lost to the United States in Grenoble. And the kid, Leconte, played very well, losing the first day to Gene Mayer. And with John McEnroe beating Yannick Noah, that just about sewed it up for the United States. Now, this is the most important game of the day for Leconte at 3-4, second set.
Love 15.
France has had a pretty good history in this championship. Jean Barotra, the old bounding Basque, still alive, won this championship in 1925, 27, 29, 31.
Winner here gets $45,000, as you saw.
And in 1926, René Lacoste, the crocodile, the man who introduced the shirts with the reptile on it, which are mistakenly called alligator shirts. They're crocodiles. He won it. It's going to go wide.
Love 13.
Now Connors making his move. 3-4, love 30. Perfect time to break if he can. Leconte needs a first serve right here. Now will he come in on the second ball against maybe the best return of serve in the game?
Ooh.
He does, and he does it well with great depth.
A service winner
15-13
on the second serve when Leconte needed it, as he frequently did last night in beating Elliott Telcher. Leconte upholding France. The #2 seed in the tournament, Yannick Noah, played terribly in losing in the opening round to Tim Gullickson. Leconte! Ooh, my gosh! He's really endangering people.
Almost took somebody's face off.
Frantic Fran Freeman in the first row. She's helpful on the transport and the housing committee, and she had to duck.
$30 all. Leconte cannot afford a double fault here at this stage of the match.
Oh, he caught the baseline. Connors did not agree with that call at all.
Right on. I saw it on, Jimmy.
And you hear Hammond's response.
I saw it right on. Sorry. 40-30.
Well, it was a big decision for Henri Leconte. Kevin Cowan on the baseline made no sign, so that showed that he felt it was good. Connors is showing you where he thought it was. But Hammond backs up the baselinesman, as I think is correct on a close call. Let's see if we can pick it.
Here's the punch volley. That's too far away to tell, but Kevin Cowan has called it good on that baseline.
40-30 second serve.
Jimmy quickly said there, from the baseline in, it's good. When it lands behind there, he says to the linesman, that means it's out.
Double fault.
And double fault. #6 for Leconte.
Connors very hyper right now because he knows this is a critical game. We're deuce. 3-4, second set. Connors has the first set.
Ooh.
Advantage Leconte.
And Leconte with ace number 9, and that's all that's keeping him alive. 4 games all.
4 all.
Let's see it again. Comes right down the center with a nice little follow through. He gets 2 steps in and knows the ball's by Connors, and we're at 4 all.
4 all, 9 aces for Leconte.
It's a lot on this court, Bud.
Yeah.
Against a damn good return
Now,
serve.
this is the best chance Leconte has ever had against Connors' serve. Love 15.
Only to win the first point.
Yeah, yeah. Leconte with 41 aces for the tournament has assured himself of an Oriental rug that unless he gets a little better, they'll wrap him in and ship him out in. On the baseline. And Leconte has love 30. This is the first play he's had today in over an hour.
Love 30.
That is wide, and suddenly Jimmy Connors is confronted with his first break points of the day, and 3 of them in a row.
And this will test his will. At 4 all, love 40. Place a server hates the most. The first point when you're down 3 break points.
Jimmy's still unhappy with that baseline call. I think it's bothered him here over the last 3 or 4 points.
Cowan, yeah, he'd said something to Kevin Barry. Leconte. With 2 forehands, and suddenly Henri Leconte, who is ready for the embalmer, is breathing healthily with his first service break of the day against a furious Jimmy Connors. And so it is 5 games to 4 for Leconte.
You're not much better on that one.
And Connors has just said to Frank Hammond, let me tell you, you're not much better on that call. And the call Connors is complaining about came in the previous game, would have given him a break point. A ball that umpire Frank Hammond, whom you're looking at, said was on the baseline. A shot of Leconte's. And so instead of break point against Leconte, it was game point for Leconte. He squirmed out of the game to 4 all and has just broken Connors for the first time. And if this young man can hold serve, the match will be brand new. He leads 5 games to 4. A kid who last year played 22 tournaments, got to 2 finals, won 38 matches, lost 25.
You know, Bud, Jimmy's very angry about that call, but what's really bothering him is losing that first service game of the match. Bill Norris is the ATP trainer sitting there next to Connors. But he had never lost his serve, so just now, and Leconte very much alive, can serve out the set. Let's watch it.
Connors lost that game at love. He had only allowed 5 points in 8 serving games. But swiftly, Leconte rattled off 4. Now, Henri Leconte, biggest final of his career. He hasn't been in many of them. He's been in 3 pro finals. Won 1 in Stockholm 2 years ago. Woo! That hurts.
Love 15.
Leconte better be careful, because Jimmy Connors will break back quicker than you can say his name if he can get a couple of good returns.
Heavy point now for Leconte. He's up a break, going at 5-4, but it's love 15.
That last ball, Bud, was just about 3 inches off the surface. The ball that Connors hit stayed extremely low. Difficult shot for Leconte to handle.
Woo.
15 all.
Fault called. By Gene Rayford, the new line crew. Ben Hale had been calling the service line. Connors!
You give him an opening, he takes advantage.
15-30. Yeah.
Got that short ball here. Now watch on the lob. Connors goes up high. Leconte is caught coming in. Hits off balance. He's a little short. And watch Connors. He just leans into it and rolls it down the line. Leconte racing after it, can't cover. 15-30.
Fault's the call.
No, it's a let.
Well, she called net because it touched the net, but fault was
You're right,
called.
it is. Second ball. Connors with a big chance.
That's wide, and boy, that hurts.
30
A
all.
second serve.
You hit that ball too early. Bud mistimed it.
So Leconte, 2 points from the set. Did he get the line? I haven't heard the call. I think he did.
No call there.
No call from Sid Bear, and so that means
14-13,
it's
yeah.
set point. What a forehand whip. Connors disturbed by some of the calls, but it's set point for the young Frenchman. And set. The match is dead even. Henri Leconte, who seemed ready to be carried out of here on the Oriental rug that he has won for serving 41 aces, suddenly snaps to, breaks serve in the 9th game, and let's look at set point once
That
more.
point, he goes right down the center. Jimmy's there a little late. Hits it off the throat of his racket. It ricochets wide into the doubles alley. And now Leconte is taking a breather back there.
1 set all.
Something's wrong with him, bud. His head, there's something wrong with his head.
He's having trouble focusing. Did he run into something? 1 set all.
Connor
15
says,
love.
what do you want to do, take a shower? Now, something is bothering Henri Leconte's vision. I don't know whether he has a headache, whether he hit himself with the racket when he jumped last time at the set point.
Let's try, maybe we can replay that set point and see if we can pick something after this game.
30 love.
He's having problems.
That's loss of condition.
Jeez.
Oh, I hope there's a doctor. Bill Norris moving. Connors is going to be the first one there.
What is going on? It's like he almost fainted, Bud.
It certainly looks it. Roy Dance, the supervisor, is there. A linesman appears with some water. Bill Norris to the right. Bent knees is the tournament trainer.
Am I right?
And now we're not worried about winning or
Time.
losing a match.
No.
Some laughter, but I don't feel very good-humored right
Why
here.
is Frank Hammond saying a word?
Please don't
Frank Hammond.
laugh at this point. This is serious.
Well, why are you saying time? I mean, ridiculous. Sitting there like he's got 3 minutes.
Now, there's a physician on court. I'm sure that gentleman bending over
Code
Leconte.
of conduct, delay of game.
Now, Hammond
Warning,
Hammond
Mr.
has to
Leconte.
call this.
No,
Hammond is
this is loss of condition, ladies and gentlemen.
Severed Drone, the coach
I
of
know we all
Leconte.
sympathize, please.
He must go through the stages Leconte is involuntarily delaying the match.
Quiet, please.
But why isn't
So
it an
there's a
injury?
warning.
Why isn't it an injury with a 3-minute timeout?
Well, we're going to find that out.
That's
But Hammond,
ridiculous.
the umpire, has to go through these stages, Donald.
Well, it depends on the nature of the ruling.
Right, but I mean,
Code
He
of
doesn't,
conduct.
he doesn't have to call a delay of condition.
Violation.
He called an injury.
Point.
Guy falls over.
Time delay.
well,
Mr.
let's
Leconte.
listen to Hammond. It's now 40 love for Connors. That was a point
Nobody's being
penalty.
a bad sport. It's part of the code, really.
So Jean-Paul Lotte, this is one of the most bizarre situations we've ever covered. Here is a man in trouble on the floor. Frank Hammond, the umpire, is going to come in for a lot of criticism, but he's only doing his duty. He has his stopwatch. And
Barry McKay, if you can hear me, when you get Roy Dance, please ask him why that is not a delay due to injury as opposed to change of conditions. It's all what the chair umpire rules, which determines what happens. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
now there is game. First
Code of
game
conduct violation.
called for
Game
Connors. So we'll hear from the supervisor, Roy Dance.
Jimmy, it's a changeover. now.
Connors has won the
You won the
game
game.
on 2 penalty points. He doesn't understand the situation.
He's not going to go for it.
No, that's Jimmy. This is loss of condition, which you go through the code now. 30 seconds.
Now we must, Barry, can you
Barry,
get Roy
ask
Dance?
Roy Dance there. What does
Roy.
loss of condition mean?
Roy, give us a rundown on exactly what's going on here. Why do you keep counting when that happens?
All right, the new rule that goes into effect this year for 84, on natural loss of physical conditioning, it goes through the normal point penalty countdown. In other words, after you got 30 seconds to get the ball in play, then you get a warning. You got another 30 seconds, and it's a point. Another 30, and then game. Another 30 would be default.
Okay.
That's what we told him.
So had he not got up right when he did, he would have been defaulted within another 30 seconds. Is that correct?
We had about 45 seconds left to go, and that's what I told him. There was consultation with the trainer and a doctor to determine whether or not he was injured, or not injured, but physically do it.
So in the meantime, he has basically lost the game based on the timeout.
That's right. Anything else,
clock
he's got one more penalty and he's out completely.
Yes,
All
one
right.
more penalty.
Thanks, Roy.
Because he has incurred the 2 penalty points, so if he has one more penalty point, it's a default against Leconte. Barry, can you find out what was wrong? Was it cramps?
Barry, I'd like to find out what's the loss of condition versus an injury.
Well, he just fell over, Donald. It could be
He could
cramps.
have
That's
been
what we
dazed,
must.
could have
We
been
must.
dazed or dizzy.
But we must find out.
Could have had cramps.
That's
A lot of things he could have had.
Hello.
Barry.
Yeah. Natural loss of condition. He fainted,
He
which
fainted.
is not an injury.
It's not an injury.
according to the code.
Absolutely not. That's the same as cramps, Donald.
I'm just trying to have the people understand it.
So he fainted.
Love 15.
And that is considered to have been brought about by his opponent as part of the match. It forced him to unconsciousness.
Well, again, I think it all depends on how the chair umpire rules it. Connors now is going to wipe a spot of rain off the court.
The roof is dripping, rain raging outside the Racket Club of Memphis. Connors. Now, you've heard about players who come and do everything, but have you ever seen one clean up the court?
Jimmy did a great one there. He said, I do windows too.
Yeah, but you imagine how much an hour it'd cost to get Connors to do your windows? About $5 grand or more.
You got the wrong zero.
Yeah, I think you're right. He will do your house for 50 grand if you got 3 windows.
That is the strangest thing I've ever seen in a match.
Yep.
15 all.
He just fell right over.
It reminds me of the case in Washington. We did that 5 years ago.
that was
Victor
cramps.
Pecci. Well,
Yeah.
cramps and fainting, same thing, Donald, in the interpretation.
Pecci came up with severe cramps on match point.
Against Vilas.
And he lost the match. He couldn't play the last point.
You know what's interesting about
30-15.
Leconte's first game? Maybe he thought, well, Jimmy's serving anyway, so I might as well take a little break here and get up. Do you think he pulled that one off?
I thought he
Looked pretty real
toppled
to me.
pretty realistically, Barry, but you are a good reporter to
The
be
cynic.
skeptical of everything.
The cynic from San Francisco.
The main thing is he's all right now. Connors, and you hear Leconte say, oh, yes.
All.
It is 30 all.
Connors winning that first game on the point penalties, leads 1-love in the third.
And Leconte must try to focus very hard here.
I just found out another interesting thing about the code, Bud, and that is if Leconte gets one more of anything, he's defaulted. He's on the verge right now.
Right. If he took more than 30 seconds between points, that would be the end of the string. Nope.
Deuce.
Big game for Leconte if he can hold serve and regain his equilibrium. He fainted in the first game. Of the third set.
Advantage Leconte.
Leconte has picked up his serving. He was way below 50% for the first set and a half. And so Henri Leconte is still even, 1 game all.
He got out of a tough spot, and he holds his serve to stay even with Connors.
1 all.
Right now, I think Jimmy Connors is an angry man, although he has outwardly entertained the crowd with a few gags. Feels he got bad line calls in the first. Suddenly, his opponent keels over.
15-love.
Ball hit the overhead lights. Connors, who had allowed only 5 points in his first 8 serving games, has still only allowed 9 in 10 serving games. Net court.
$15 all.
Connors has gone off his game.
He's lost his concentration a little bit, Bud. Lost his verve.
He's only had 2 difficult games against Leconte. The 9th game of the second set, which he did lose his serve for the only time, and right here at 15-30.
Can't do anything.
He stopped coming in. He doesn't seem to be as aggressive as he was 2 or 3 games serving.
And Leconte has a break point, only his second of the afternoon.
When you talk about a shot maker, there you see why he is called such. On the baseline, he hits a flick shot, and then he comes in and punches the volley from an awkward position.
And Leconte, who keeled over, is within a swing of taking the lead in this match.
What an extraordinary turnaround.
Ace. Ooh, I thought it was an ace. So did Connors. Earl Potter calls fault. Leconte says 2 balls. Leconte is saying it was good. Leconte is saying 2 balls, and it will be 2 balls.
He's acknowledging that the ball was good when he does that.
First serve, says Frank Hammond. Now, the custom is that when a player rules against himself, as Leconte has just done, then the umpire will allow the player ruling against himself to call the play. And Connors disagrees with that. He says, we got to play the calls. It looked like an ace, and Leconte thought so.
Connors spun a second serve in. Interesting there. He thanked Leconte for that and then said, let's play to the calls. So we'll be doing this all afternoon, he said.
Well, of course, Leconte ruled against himself, you might say half-heartedly. If he said the ball was good, then it's an ace.
Well, not really. Hammond's got the guy in the chair has got to make that determination.
This has been a wild and woolly one. It's deuce, nonetheless.
Advantage, Connors.
It's a big game for Connors to get out of, get some rhythm back, some confidence. He's a little unnerved. Jimmy wants this game right now. Second serve, add out. Add in, excuse me, to Connors.
Got the line. Whoa.
There's an amazing return of serve. He just flicked his wrist, it dropped on the line.
Second deuce. Henri Leconte still blinking as though he's having trouble pulling his brains together. Who needs brains? Just keep swinging, kid. Now, Leconte played that the way he would like to play it. A short ball to Connors' forehand, drawing him in, setting up the passing shot, which he butchered. Got the baseline.
That topspin mishit by Leconte, dropped in. Jimmy was hoping it would go long. He gave up on chasing it.
Third deuce. Longest game of the match.
It is really disconcerting when you're playing Leconte. You don't know he's going to hit the fence or the line, but either way, the point ends.
This is the decisive set to decide the United States Championship indoors. One game all.
Out. Advantage, Connors.
Still giving Kevin Cowan on the baseline the needle. Seventh game of the second set, there was a close call. He didn't like it.
So Connors has the game, 2-1. And Barry McKay will be talking to the tournament trainer from the ATP, Bill Norris, and we'll get some more on the physical condition of Henri Leconte.
Bill Norris, what was going on out there with Leconte?
Well, Henri had a little dizziness out there, and he had loss of conditioning. He was cramping a little bit in the legs, and even hyperventilating a little bit. So
was that because of action in the end of that second set, Bill, you think?
I think so, yeah.
Bill, what about the rules now? Okay, that happens. They start counting him down. He's about 30 seconds away from being defaulted. Is that fair, or should that be an injury kind of situation?
Well, I've argued back and forth each way, but it really is a lack of conditioning in some respects, yeah.
So in other words, if he's not in shape and his opponent has worn him down, that's part of the action?
That's the way it works now.
Have you ever seen Jimmy move as fast as he did? He jumped the net and came running over there.
He's always concerned about his opponent, you know, because it makes for a good match if the other guy's fit. So he's always concerned that way.
All right, Bill, thanks a lot.
Right.
Back to you, bud.
Okay, Bill Norris and Barry McKay. So whatever
Thank you.
Henri Leconte is surviving. He's down 1-2, no breaks of serve. This is the final set, the third. U.S. National Indoor. I'm Bud Collins with Donald Dell, Barry McKay. A full house of about 4,400 at the Racket Club of Memphis. Rain on the roof. And torrential strokes inside.
Love 15.
Leconte seems to be walking on the brink.
He's such a spacey guy. You don't know what he's going to do.
He hasn't missed a smash.
Look at that shot. Almost from the baseline, off balance. The very high lob. He smacks a winner.
15-all.
Tremendous talent. He just makes the game look like a toy. He is marvelous.
Wow.
You know, but he is deceptively quick because he closes so fast. He was
13,
well
15.
inside that service line.
Well, some people have compared him to a young Rod Laver. Also reminds me a lot of a very good Danish player named Jan Leschly. Semifinals of the U.S. Championships 1967. Woo!
Well, I think Leconte's going to be a lot better than Leschly over the years.
yes, but
Leschly was an awfully good left-hander. He's working in Princeton, New Jersey now, the president of a pharmaceutical company in Princeton with his wife and family. And a very, very nice person, Jan Leschly of Denmark.
so it's 2-all.
Shovels that short ball way out. And Leconte hangs in.
2-all. From there.
Connor's the server. Well, Leconte
15 love.
has hit the roof twice with returns, and I think that's a record at the Racket Club of Memphis. The ceiling about 60 feet above us.
Love.
Connors with his head bent low there is a study in concentration. Just trying not to let anything bother him. Just play out the points one at a time.
Love.
And a love game as Connors returns to strong serving to take a 3-2 lead. Jimmy Connors, who has been pushed to the distance twice in winning his 6 titles in 1979 in a best-of-3 set match. He beat Arthur Ashe 6-3 in the 3rd set. We televised that match. And in 1975, he beat Vitas Gerulaitis 6-love in the 5th. And now let's go to Barry McKay with one of the great presidents of the U.S. Tennis Association as Henri Leconte goes topless, Slew Hester.
Slew, they say this is a house that Billy Donovan built, but you built a thing up at Flushing Meadow called the U.S. Open site. What's going to be happening there this year?
Well, of course, we're going to have the U.S. Open at its usual time, the last week of August, first week of September, but we're also having the tryouts for the Olympics there, which I think is a great thing to make use of the stadium for amateur athletics.
Slew, what's your feeling about the Olympics? We talked earlier, it's under 20, and yet there's going to be some professionals obviously playing this year.
I've been very much against it because I think that everybody should play on the same rules, and I don't think the Iron Curtain countries play that way.
Slew, I hope we'll see more of you. We're about ready to start here at the U.S. Open this year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Barry.
All right, Bud, back to you.
Thank you. Slew Hester out of Jackson, Mississippi, under whose tenure as president of the USTA, the U.S. National Tennis Center was constructed in Flushing Meadow, which brought a whole new era to American tennis. And it was a great break for the tennis-loving public who finally have room to move around.
15-11.
And for Henri Leconte, who is playing in his first national final of any sort. This, for a country he's visiting, the United States. He's hanging right tight to Jimmy Connors with ace number 10. .42 for the tournament. Boy, what a kicker. Leconte.
Leconte is in the zone this game. 3 good points. He's at 40-love.
40-love.
He is so unpredictable. Watch this last point again. Kicks it out wide. Jimmy scoops at it, but it's short. Now he rolls the backhand this time, doesn't chip. And look at that volley into the open court.
Oh, oh.
By play.
Jim Kelly called fault. It certainly looked like an ace.
Game Leconte.
3 games off, and now it's become a battle. Who would have thought it in the first set when Connors won 6-3? Seemed to be having his own way, and even when Leconte caught him in the opening game of this 3rd set, this final set, this decisive set for the title, Henri Leconte fainted on court and was nearly defaulted, waking up with 45 seconds to go before he would have been tossed out of the match, loser of a default. And here he is with still a chance at the title belonging to Connors. Skyhook. But
we should explain, Bud, the basic point of the rule is to
15
keep
love.
somebody from stalling. You got to keep playing after every 30 seconds. So when a guy falls over with cramps or faints, they say that every 30 seconds is a point penalty, and then
a warning. Then he had 2-point penalties, which gave Connors the game. The incident occurred with Connors serving at 30-love, and then the next one would have been out.
A default. But we're dead even, 3-all. Final set, 15-love.
Been a strange match. In the first set, Connors was momentarily injured. In following through, struck himself in the mouth with his steel racket and loosened a bridge. So Leconte, shoot a firecracker off for him on his birthday.
First service.
Pam F. Magnus, net judge, calls that. She's a right-handed net judge. Net cord. And it helps Leconte.
Stopped dead, didn't come up very high. Jimmy tried to roll forehand, and it netted.
Oh, what a perplexing young man this must be if you're a fan of his. Gold one moment, zinc the next.
Now watch the serve here, Connors. Very long, high motion, high toss. Jumps into the court.
40-15.
Just wide.
Hmm.
40-13.
He jumped at that backhand, a little careless.
A very uneven match from both ends of the court. Even when Connors isn't at his best, he finds a way to beat you. With his heart, usually.
That's exactly right. It's bigger than most oversized rackets when it comes to competitiveness.
And with more twang.
Loves to win.
Whew. Well, Leconte with the opening.
Bad error there, that second
Can't
point.
find it. 4-3 for Connors, and now for Henri Leconte. This is a moment of truth because he must hold.
4-3.
I watched Jimmy here in this 40-30 point. He just spins that serve in. Leconte with the forehand grip, turns around, slaps the forehand. It's a very good shot. Look at Jimmy, way out of court by the double side. Now Leconte has another easier forehand. Connors well out of position, but Leconte hit it 6 feet over the line. Very sloppy, careless error on an important point.
So Jimmy Connors, gathering his thoughts, knows, as his opponent, Henri Leconte knows, that Jimmy will be clawing at the French kid's throat in this game. If Jimmy can break through, he'll be serving for the title. Leconte will be serving at 3-4. Racket Club of Memphis. 6th year we've televised here with the good old KQED crew out of San Francisco. Jimmy Scalem, Charlie Moran, Ken Shortini. And we're pleased to be back because they treat us so well here. Walt Louis here. Phil Chamberlain, director of tennis at the Racket Club of Memphis, and his pros, Rob Cadwallader and Steve Mansour. Herb Costin, head of the umpires and linesmen. Willard Drake. Couldn't open the doors without Willard. The custodian, T.W. Martin, the electrician. We wouldn't get on the air without him. And Mac Winker, the general manager of the club, along with Bill Grissom, the business manager. Kathy Lovett, director of public relations. This is one of our friendliest stops. But it is not a friendly face that Henri Leconte is peering into now. That hurts.
Love 15.
And this is where Connors tends to jump you, as he did yesterday against Ben Testerman, winning 9 of the last 11 points. Within sniffing distance of his 7th indoor championship, which would be his 20th overall in USTA titles.
Leconte came in on a second ball there and hit a very sharp volley.
15-all.
Just had a wrist very firm. Knifed it for a winner. Now watch him because he comes in quickly here. Second serve.
It's 15-all.
We don't have time for it. Here we are, back live.
Hmm.
30-15.
Jimmy Connors, sensational record in this tournament since he first played in 1971. 44 victories, 4 defeats, 6 titles.
God almighty. Marvelous, isn't it? Scary. 44-4, did you say?
Yeah. Net cord, no.
40-15.
Now Leconte's hanging tough here now in the final set. Leconte won $147,000 last year in prize money alone.
Couldn't envision it going down to the wire like this in the first set when Henri was so wild. Ooh, and he cut Connors going the wrong way. Service winner. It is 4 games all, and the title is in the balance. Connors, now we're in a no-break situation for both men. 1 break of serve can mean the title. Henri Leconte has scrapped Connors all the way. He's fainted once. We haven't showed you that before. Patty Connors watching her roomie. Ooh. Severed drone, coach.
Love 15.
Of Leconte. Composed, cool. Leconte says, I remember watching Connors when I was a little kid on television. Great player, what a great player he was, and I found it out the first time we played against each other 2 years ago in Hamburg, Germany. Jimmy beat me in straight sets. But he said, I'm 2 years older, and that was a clay court. I like this better. Connors.
He broke the string on that one.
Yep.
Got that short ball and wisely came in.
He popped a string, and there aren't many of these rackets left. Let's watch Jimmy Connors.
He's got that high ball. It's bouncing high, but it's short, very short. Plays behind Leconte, and he's right there. Hits that forehand volley, but
he crunched
top of the racket there, broke the string.
Jimmy Connors is like the Red Baron flying against a jet. That obsolete but yet very friendly T-2000. It was an innovation in 1967 when he got it as a little kid from Jack Staten, a Wilson representative. He says, what did I like about it? It shined. It was great looking. And he's never let up on it. Long. Leconte's shot was long.
40-15.
And Connors made a liar out of me with a story I wrote for World Tennis Magazine saying it was the end of the Steely era.
15.
He was going to change. He's testing a new composite racket. He used it when we covered the mixed doubles in Houston last autumn. But he says, well, there are about 10 of these Steelies left, and I still feel comfortable until the new racket is perfect. So Connors steps to 5-4. Championship game against Leconte, who will be serving. He was love 15 in that game.
Leads 5-4.
And the pressure very heavily stacked on these shoulders. Henri Leconte, 20, Parisian, a good-humored kid, very good English. He's had his moments. And Tommy Buford, the director of the tournament, the man who does everything around the Racket Club of Memphis with Herb Costin, the head of officials. And here is James Scott Connors. Look at this man, all he has done. 19 U.S. championships over the years. 6 times he has won this title. That's a record. 5 times he has won the U.S. Open.
Seats quickly, please.
Flushing Meadow and Forest Hills. Only Bill Tilden and Bill Larnard. Dick Sears won more.
Time.
We're in Memphis, where the sun comes down every night over the Mississippi. The new bridge leading to our... And here is where he hopes a flood tide will rise on his behalf in this game. He is 4 points away from the title. He has met unexpected opposition considering the first set blowout. For this cup, the Donovan Cup, the opposition coming from France, Henri Leconte. And we're glad to show you much more than we thought we'd show you of Leconte when he played so badly in the first set. Because he is a gifted kid.
must lift his game off
15
these
love.
rallies. Can't let Leconte stay loose.
He's softballing Connors now.
It's good on the line.
Connors with the fly volley.
And that's where Jimmy wants to be when Leconte's serving is at the net if he can get in. Tougher to pass than it is to volley. Now watch Connors.
15 all.
That ball hit right on the line. Leconte came under it. It skidded. Connors has that forehand. He lays it back to the backhand side. Leconte leans in with the roll, and Connors, the diving stop volley, has gotten to 15 all.
15 all indeed. 3 points away is Connors. Leconte misses, and overhead for the first time in 3 sets, it could burn him.
Jimmy took a chance
15,
going with that
13,
lob off the second point. Now he wants to give Leconte a little time to think. He's moved over, he's toweling off. Now watch it here. Leconte charging the net. Jimmy goes with the lob. Henri's back, and he mishits it wide and long. 15-30, 2 points for match.
Dealing with smashes all day until then, but 15 all point at 4-5 is a pretty heavy one.
First service.
So that. Ooh. 1 step, 2 steps. He's got it. Oh.
Leconte made a heck of a second volley there. First one right here.
30 all.
Jimmy fields it. Thought he had a chance. Scooped it down the line, but it was 2 feet low.
30 all.
He's out of breath. There's Patty Connors. Always watching. Not too expressionless.
It'll go long. I think this crowd would like to see it go right down to a tiebreaker.
40-30.
Looks like the former Carol Oisha in the first row.
There's a short forehand. He slaps at it with a lot of topspin. Connors hits it high.
Second serve. 40-30. Severdrone, coach of Leconte.
But he missed by 20 feet. He hit that so hard and so long. Caught half laughing at himself, but that's a terrible shot for such a big point.
It's deuce.
And Jimmy's taking lots of time. Leconte is always in a hurry between points. He wants to serve quickly and get to the next point.
Severdrone, Leconte's coach. Ooh, service winner.
Advantage Leconte. First service.
It's a let. Serve and volley on the second ball, and Leconte is again even at 5 games all. His coach approved.
Well, there's that spin second serve. Jimmy plays it down the center. And look at the angle that Leconte gets. Connors makes a great save, but Leconte guessing right, just stiff arms it back into the open court.
So, Henri Leconte fainted figuratively in the first set, played badly. Fainted literally in the second set, nearly defaulted from this match. Came to in time, 30 seconds before being defaulted, and now is even in this final set against Connors, 5-all.
Love.
The sneak volley.
Well, Leconte is just taking away the play here. This coach is awfully confident. Very nervous, though. He just slaps that forehand. Look at the depth. Connors makes a half volley. Leconte comes in quickly behind him. Barry McKay?
Donald, Jimmy has taken some real chances on that second serve. Now, that last second serve was deep. He's trying to keep Leconte back, but I don't know. I tell you, I think he's taken a lot of chances on the second serve from down here.
It's out. Leconte is down, but he's the winner of the point, and Connors is furious.
Out.
David Lynn made the call. It's confirmed by Frank Hammonds.
Did you see it, Bud, on the line?
I thought it was a little wide. Sever Drone certainly thinks so. 15-30, big point.
See if we can watch it again. Leconte hits the chip now. Jimmy will go cross court.
Over there too, yeah.
Leconte dives for it. He falls down. The ball hits.
It's 15-30.
Can you tell it's wide? A little wide. Look at that return of serve off a fault.
And this is the closest Connors has come to losing his title. 15-30, 5 games all. Wide.
all.
All. 5 all. 1 set all. Final set. Ace for Connors. He has 2, but he'll take that one. His opponent has 10.
What a time to throw in 30 all, 5 all, final set, and he throws in his second ace. Splits the center line.
And that goes long. So Jimmy Connors from 15-30 holds to 6 games to 5 and lays it squarely as wife Patty applauds. Lays it squarely on the French shoulders of Henri Leconte. Sever Drone saying, come on, Henri, his protege, take us into the tiebreaker. Only once before in the history of U.S. championships has a title match gone to a tiebreaker in the ultimate set. And we'll tell you about that when we return to Memphis.
Tour with tax experts going over how to fill out your forms, and you'll have an opportunity to call in your questions. That's a 2-hour program starting at 2. Then at 4:30 this afternoon, we'll have coverage of the Iowa Democratic debate with all 8 Democratic presidential candidates. The Iowa Democratic debate starts at 4:30. And on Saturday afternoon, February 25th at 2 o'clock, we'll have coverage of the USA Mobile Indoor Track and Field Championships, which were being held the previous night at New York's Madison Square Garden. Saturday afternoon, the 25th, 2 o'clock.
second serve, 15 love. Sorry you missed the first point. Double fault, number 7 for Leconte. But these guys just wanted to keep playing. They didn't stay for the 90-second changeover.
Both
15
nervous,
all.
both in a hurry.
Connors 3 points from his 7th title. I'm Bud Collins with Donald Dell. Barry McKay is on the floor. And we've never had a tighter finish in all the years we've telecast this match. The burden is on the kid, 20-year-old Henri Leconte, Frenchman. And he's 2 points from losing.
15-13. Gave him a look there, but he was surprised at that error. That has been Leconte's downfall for the last 2 years. The unexplained sudden proneness to error, and error by a large margin.
Leconte started badly. His coach, Severdrone, lost the first set easily. Won the second set. Actually fainted in the third set. And here he is.
30 all.
No more faint or faint-hearted. 30 all. Good serve there. 2 points from a tiebreaker, or 2 points from Connors winning the title.
Connors still having trouble reading the first serve of Leconte.
What a return by Connors.
Great
Here's
one there.
Match point.
Paddy Connors, impassive,
30,
dying
14.
inside, watches the match point. Severdrone, the coach of the Frenchman Leconte, nervously playing with his nose.
So
And
here's
Jimmy
match
Connors.
point. Jimmy Connors, 1 point from a 7th title. 100 tournaments he's won. His opponent with the balls has won 1.
And it's fitting that it will come down to his return of serve. A fault. Now Leconte could serve an ace, or he could serve a double fault. So much risk does he take on the second ball. Match point. It's
And
a double
there it
fault.
is, number 8. It's over, just like that.
And you never know with Henri Leconte, from rags to riches. Jimmy Connors stunned at how quickly that ended on a double fault into the net.
Jimmy Connors, who was the first to Henri Leconte's side when he fainted in the opening game of this final set. And of course, he's the first to speak to Henri again. The shake of the hand, the 8th double fault, and Frank Hammond, the umpire, gives the score 6-3, 4-6, 7-5. Connors still on his throne. Let's go to Barry McKay with Jimmy Connors.
Jimmy, I know you're excited of another big title, but what was happening there at the beginning of that third set? He's down. Was it tough to sort of concentrate after that part?
I should have come out that next game, Barry, and just played every ball in play and moved him around a little bit and worked him a little bit harder. I missed a couple balls just for no reason at all at that game, and I kind of gave him a chance to get a breather and get back into it there. Then he started serving well, and hey, that's a pretty good trick, fainting on the court. I kind of like that.
Were you aware, Jimmy, that he was about 30 seconds away from being defaulted?
Yeah, but it's no fun winning the title like that, Barry. I mean, if I'm going to come here and win, I want to win here. I want to win my 7th title here, and I don't want to win it by a default. I want to win it by going out, and if I'm struggling, I want to struggle through it. That's going to make me play that much better in the future, so, and that's what happened.
How about that 7th title, Jimmy? Unbelievable feat. You've been at it for a long time. Any special thoughts about this title as opposed to that first one you won?
Well, I think now that I'm getting on in years a little bit here, and a lot of people thought that I couldn't win a lot of major titles as I've gotten older, but it's always better to win them when you're not expected to. When I first started, I was expected to win every time I walked out there, and I like that position at the same time. But now it kind of gives me a little opportunity to rub a little salt in the wounds here to a lot of people, and I'm kind of enjoying that.
Congratulations, Jimmy.
Thanks, Barry.
Okay, the great salt rubber Barry McKay is going over now to Henri Leconte, and let's find out what happened when he keeled over.
All right. Henri, I know it's a tough defeat, but what was happening out there when you just all of a sudden fell down and leaned back?
I feel, when I just won the second set, the first game, I feel, was my head was too heavy, and I think I lost too much sugar. The match was very hard, and
just kind of went blank.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened, but I couldn't walk. That's why I fell down, and after I got some orange juice and I got some chocolate, and it was pretty much better.
But after that, you came back and played great tennis, and I thought you had a chance to win. Did you feel that way in the third set, that you really had a chance?
Yeah, I really had a chance to win, but the difference about me and Jimmy Connors is then Jimmy played a point. When they get a point, very important, and he play different than me. That's why he's number 2.
Henri, I think you got a great future. What do you feel you've got to do to really improve your game from here on?
I think I've got to improve, to move much better. I move very well, but I got to move much better, and you know, maybe to work my backhand topspin.
All right, Henri, good luck, and we hope we'll see you more.
Thank you.
Well, you like
Back up to you, bud.
You like that smile, you like those strokes, and you'll see him again, Henri Leconte. Now let's go to the floor where Hunter Delatour, the president of USTA, Billy Donovan. The ceremonies will be conducted. This tournament has run every year since 1898, and with the microphone,
I'd like to thank
Tommy Buford,
Mac Winker, chairman of the board, and the staff of the Racket Club for making this week go so smoothly. It's been a real pleasure for me, and I think it has for the players, and it's due to their hard work. Thank you. And now the gentleman that makes all of this possible, the gentleman that does so much not only for the U.S. Indoor Championships, but does so many positive things for Memphis and the Mid-South throughout each year, the owner and founder of the Racket Club, Mr. Billy Donovan.
Thank you, Tommy. First this afternoon, I would like to thank Holiday Inns of America and the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Memphis, Mike Rose and Bobby Pigeon, because without them, I can assure you that the U.S. National Indoor at the Racket Club wouldn't be the success it is today. And I sincerely appreciate their efforts for us and the community. You know, we saw some fantastic tennis today, and Jimmy, I just don't know. You just keep us all on edge. But you know, we all hear that records are made to be broken. This man won his 101st major title today. He won his 7th U.S. National Indoor. Which is a modern-day record for a U.S. Indoor title. And he won his 4th U.S. Indoor title in our city in Memphis, where he's won the hearts of everybody here. Jimmy, would you step forward, please? Jimmy Connors, I want to present you with a check, $45,000, a trophy for a job well done, and we hope, even though, like I, you're aging, that you will be back with us again in 1985.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh. This is wonderful. Thank you, Billy. I'd like to thank Mr. Donovan and everybody here connected with the tournament. Tommy Buford, who has done nothing but make everything go very smooth for the players and everybody all week. Also, earlier in the week, I was having some problems and I needed some practice, and Tommy Buford made it possible for Phil Chamberlain here and one of his young students, David Pollack, to come and help me with my game a little bit, and I'd like to thank them. They did a good job. I don't think there's any place around this country, around this world, that I play any better outside of Memphis, except maybe New York. And between here and New York, I've done a lot of good tennis playing in my days, and I would just like to thank you people for making all that possible. You come out and you support the event, and you get behind it and you push it, and you make it what it is every year, and because you people are sitting there in the stands, it makes me want to come out and give it everything I have so that I can play hopefully up to the standards that you require of me, and that is my pleasure for me because you sit there, and thank you very much.
Before introducing our runner-up this afternoon, I would like to also comment, Jimmy, that all your fans around the United States sincerely appreciate your playing Davis Cup in 1985, and we wish you every success in the Davis Cup. We've had this event for a number of years, as you all know, and I don't think I've ever seen an exhibition of sportsmanship of the quality we saw today from Henri Leconte. Henri, you're an outstanding young man. You are a real credit to the game of professional tennis, and you're a real credit to your country, France. And I'm very proud of you. And I'd like to present you a check for $22,500 as runner-up for the U.S. National Indoor Championships. Thank you again for being with us. Let me give you
I would like to say thank you for everybody who came here for the tournament. It was great. Thank you for the director for the tournament. I want to say thank for Jimmy. I think it's very nice to play against a gentleman like you, and I appreciate it a lot. And when I was a kid of 5 years old, I just remembered, and I just say maybe one time I'm gonna play against Jimmy Connors, and I play once. Thank you.
So, Jimmy Connors.
You know, this is a USTA indoor event. And the two gentlemen that are responsible for letting Memphis have that event are with us today. And without their support, there would not be this tournament in our city. And I would like first to introduce to you Mr. Hunter Delator, who is president of the USTA, and Randy Gregson, vice president of USTA. Hunter, would you please step forward?
Thank you very much, Billy, and thank you, the city of Memphis, for giving the USTA such a wonderful turnout year after year for this great event. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, Tommy, all of you for what you do to put this really tremendous event on. Now, all the great words have been spoken about what has happened here all this week. So my job right at the moment is to present a traditional tennis ball to each of these great, fine gentlemen. And when I say gentlemen, I mean that word. We saw a wonderful display of that, what that word means here today. I think, Henri, would you come here first? Yes, please.
Henri, easy.
As one Frenchman to another, Henri, j'ai un nom de la tour, which is slightly different than some of the other names you run into here in America, but we are really proud of what you have done all this week. You've put on a tremendous exhibition of great tennis and great sportsmanship, just as Tommy has said. This is the traditional silver ball that is given to the runners-up of all USTA national championships. We hope this is the first of many either silver or gold balls you will win as you continue your career. All the best to you. Thank you. And now, Jimmy, could we say a word for just a moment? Thank you so much for all you've done for tennis over these years. This has been a tremendous event, once again, for you and for all of the spectators, the people who have put this great event on, for the sponsors, everyone. This will be the 7th gold ball you've taken out of Memphis. That's not too bad. We'll give it to you, Jimmy, with all our blessing. And once again, thank you, too, for playing the Davis Cup for us. The USTA is proud. Your country is proud. I know we'll be proud and get that cup back. All the best, Jimmy. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter. Before closing, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to wish Henri Leconte the best of luck when the French play against England in the Davis Cup in about 10 days. We wish you, young man, every success. Tommy Buford introduced me and said that I was the man responsible for the tournament, and I guess that's partly true, but to put the tournament on and to organize a tournament, you got to get to know people in this city, around the country, and that's Tommy Buford. And he's the man that I'd like for everybody to be very proud of and give a round of applause. Tommy Buford. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The doubles will be starting shortly, and look forward to having a good match there. Thank you again.
So there you've seen the festivities at Memphis. Jimmy Connors making some history, his 7th national indoor title, and that brings him up with 5 other players in the history of American tennis: Bill Tilden, Bill Larned, these are real old-timers, Helen Wills Moody, Mala Bjurstedt Mallory, and Dick Sears, who won 7 individual titles, either on grass. Tilden did it 7 on grass and 7 on clay.
But you know, Bud, the big thing is he passed Tilden today in singles titles. Tilden won 15 titles in singles. Connors today has now won 16. So he's passed Bill Tilden.
He'll be pleased
not in total, but in singles events, which is remarkable.
Well, it was quite a day in Memphis, and I really thought that we were going to be finished a lot sooner, because Henri Leconte played as he can play tennis, which was horrible at first, and then brilliant, and then finally with the old heart across the net, Jimmy Connors pumping away, and you look at Connors and it's match point, and he double faulted.
That's amazing, Bud, the way that came so quickly. You know, when he went back to serve, I really thought he was going to go for an ace, and when he goes for that deep serve, I said it's a big risk play, because he could serve a double fault just as easily, and suddenly the match is over.
But that's the way Leconte plays. He beat Bjorn Borg in Borg's last pro match in Monte Carlo, and you could figure that's a good place for Henri Leconte, because he's a gambler. So we got James Scott Connors, the one and only, for a quickie here. We were just saying how you have passed Bill Tilden in American singles titles.
That's good.
And congratulations. And did you think Leconte was still groggy when he called you a great sportsman?
Well, he must have been. I don't know. And I knew he was groggy when he said that I was his hero when he was 10 years old.
He said 5, Jimmy, 5.
Well, I enjoyed playing him, but it's a difficult match to play him, because he goes for it all the time. It's either in or out. There's no really in between, and if he gets hot and he gets on a streak, then they start falling in. He's very difficult to play. But in the first set, I played a lot of balls in play and kept the ball going, and made him hit the ball, and he missed a few, served a few double faults. But after that, he kind of found his rhythm on his serve and just started blowing them in there, and he's difficult to play when that happens.
Jimmy, it's time for us to go, and it's time for you to go to Bucharest. Good luck against Romania. First round for the United States, 24th to 26th. You'll be playing against your old nemesis, Ilia Nastase. So that's it. Jimmy Connors, 7 titles. I'm Bud Collins. This is Jimmy Connors. That's Donald Dell. Barry McKay is somewhere. Kathy Andriatis, the statistician, and keep on hacking, will you?
What a future ahead of this youngster. He's only 21 years old, and he's had great results, not only in the downhill, but the Giants follow him. He won a Super Giants.